Hello everyone, my name is Lita Gonzalez, and I will be discussing with you the societal concern that I'll be focusing on for my big problem for the course and taking the time to analyze what we can do through the stated learning theories in our modules. My big problem focuses on social inclusion within educational settings here in the US and what we could do as a community, as a society, and even specifically more as future educators in order to create a connection with our students and support their growth and expand their perspective of the world around them. The concern that comes from the lack of social inclusion that I want to take the time to research and develop a solution actually comes from how it impacts the students that are set in our classrooms. Without it, the impact of the students revolves around their academics and their social intake. Students that are not supported often find themselves struggling academically and losing engagement to their learning and begin to fall behind drastically. Students are also begin to be affected socially. They begin to lose that sense of belonging, and it causes unresolved stigma for their environment, often leading to misconceptions that harm others, and it pushes away the agenda of empathy and understanding. Social inclusion is important to be able to create that positive environment where there's a great deal of inclusivity and equity, but how can we get there? For this module, we take the time to look at the cognitive learning theory. Cognitivism revolves around how the mind is able to take in information through prior information, whether it comes from memory, problem solving, and other internal mental processes. It focuses on how the mind is able to take it in, process, and use this new information. An example is when someone decides to use a prior knowledge of addition and subtraction in order to create a budget. These connections made is known as active learning. It is being able to signify the construct of new learning by taking in new knowledge from using stigmas, the framework used in order to continue to understand and process information. This learning theory is crucial when it comes to education, which allows educators to take the time to create material and learning methods that meet the accommodations for all learners, creating comprehensible learning and focus on understanding, and also being able to provide feedback and metacognition in order to help students grow. By differentiating learners, we begin to take the time to look at the pace of their learning and what teaching methods work and which ones need improvements. With cognitivism, we look beyond the means of behavioralism in order to observe behaviors, but in those mental processes that can build a learner. A great innovative approach when it comes to help building up learners through the uses of cognitive learning theory is to create peer-to-peer learning pods. In these pods, we the educators will introduce the lessons that are needed for the curriculum, and then we will take the time to assign students in different learning pods with other students. These pods can vary within the lesson, such as including students with the same academic levels, to even switching it up with students that levels vary and differentiate. In these pods, the students will be able to share their work and their own perspective on what is given to them, and they will take the time to learn from others, learn how others took in the lesson, and they can see help from the others in the way that they saw it. These pods are able to create not only the social skills they need, but also allow them to see the differentiating learners that there are in the classroom and learn from them. Another approach that I would like to do is to bring in guest speakers to the classroom to share experiences with the students. Whether it's authors, community leads, and so on, it is a new perspective that can introduce the class to something new. The guest speaker can share stories that students can identify with or let them learn about the world around them. They can bring in displays that provide a visual for students to catch their eye, and they can open the floor for discussion for students to make comments, to relate to these stories, or to ask the questions that they are curious about. It is a great intake that be able to be creative and can create a lesson that can help the students engage with one another. To push these innovative approaches, I am reaching out to the educators, to the school districts, as well as the community in order to set up what we need for them. For educators, we need to be able to provide workshops to make them create this positive environment for the students, to be able to share with one another and to see that they are collaborating for their education as well as not bringing down others. For our school district, it is important that we take the time to see how these pods and bringing in guest speakers can improve the learning of students so that we can continue to improve that. As for the community, I want to take the time to reach out for anyone that is interested to come by and talk to the students to help create this new line of learning and to help them engage for the better. I'm asking for the support of educators, the district, the community itself, and most importantly, parents. We must take the time to change our students to continue to learn and see what they can do for the world around them. I ask for the support to create this learning that will enhance students and enrich the way they are thinking. Nothing is more important than the education of our future generations and leaders, as it is our job to be able to provide for them what they need to succeed. Thank you.